once again, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to be on this platform today to anchor this event. And thank you to our speakers for their timely response to this event. And we hope that we'll have a kind of healthy and educative discussion tonight. And before we proceed, I would like to remind us about our previous videos, and you can as well take your free time to check um, our previous video, listen to it, make your comments, and editors will be there to read your response when they have the time, and we can improve on any discussion further, or you can make recommendations over time, and they will feed us back with what it's needed to be adjusted. And also, I'd like to just appreciate our sponsor, the Just Electric, for their continued support to ensuring this event is successful. So tonight we'll be having two speakers here, and they are already in our midst, and I believe that as others are joining, can actually proceed to the event of the day. So we'll be discussing the recall of Natasha. Uh, just a preview of what has been going on, which I believe many of us are aware of. It's the issue within the National Assembly of Nigerian Parliament. There's a Ashimba, which is the Senate Parliament, and the we see how the whole event snowballed to the recall process. So tonight we just want to discuss it and see what we'll make out of it. So um, before we proceed, the speakers in person of Johnny Johnny Jerry and Miss Dr. Mrs. Oluwatomi Singh Ola- Olaoluwa. Am I correct?
Yes, you're correct.
Yes, I'll start with Oluwatomi Singh. Please, can you just give us a brief introduction about yourself before we proceed to the event of the day? And after that,
Okay.
John Jerry will take over.
Okay. So first of all, thank you for having me here. I'm here to discuss one of my favorite topics, which is politics. It's quite very the unusual for a lady to be speaking about politics, but I'm very passionate about politics. So my name is Oluwatomi Olaoluwa. I'm a medical doctor. I'm also into digital projects. And also I also have my own YouTube channel. So I'm really glad to be here and thank you for having me. Yeah.
Thank you for that short introduction. And over to you, Mr. Jerry. Please, can you just give a kind of a true brief introduction about yourself, please?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is John Jerry. I am an operations manager at Spa the Hustle, and then primarily I am a clergy, a man of God by call, and a prophet of God by design. I am also an author of a daily devotional, which is Waters of Cave Adulam, as was rightly indicated on the flyer, the poster that was going around for this event.
Okay. Thank you, John, Pastor Jerry. Will it be polite to say Pastor Jerry there?
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay. Okay, then I'll take for the permission before I have to say that before I can decide to call
It's
you
okay.
that. So the
It's
first
okay.
question, first topic for today to be discussed in the, of course, it's we don't have to go back and forth, but as much as possible, we have an expert, an interested party here that likes the topic, and we also have a pastor. So it will be an interesting position. So let's just enjoy what's going to come out of it. But as much as possible, we want to be learn and to be informed about things in different perspectives to the topic. So my first question will be to Dr. Oluwa Olaoluwa. Would you what do you make of the process in entirety? Would you say it was a transparent process or just a legal theater of political interest? What's your take on that?
Okay, so first of all, I found the process initially very interesting, because actually in the history of like Nigeria, they've been more than one recall process. So Natasha was not the first person to be recalled. Actually, in Kogi State, which I happen to be from,
Oh,
there's also been a previous recall from Melaye, but it was unsuccessful. And so the recall of Natasha, I found it quite very interesting, especially the process of how it was. how it was done. And I think personally, I find the process a bit ambiguous because according to Section 69A of the Constitution, a senator can be recalled, or anyone in the chambers, in the legislative chambers, can actually be recalled. But then there is a clause of the signatures have to be verified by INEC. And I remember that during this case, there was this argument about are these real people who signed? I think there was a time, okay, I think there was a period in time that they were not sure if all the signatures were complete, or the phone numbers or the contact details of who signed the petition. So for me, it was very interesting because first of all, we have a data issue in Nigeria. That's the first thing. We have a data issue in Nigeria. So how did
So,
INEC
sorry,
verify this data?
sorry. Before you allow you to continue from where I would like to chime in, I think I will just give
Yeah,
Pastor Jerry that opportunity to just give a kind
yeah,
of short
sure.
response to the his own opinion about the legal process.
Okay. That was a great one from a doctor. Actually, yeah. We have a data problem in Nigeria.
No, no,
That
no. Sorry to interject. Let's start from you not responding to her directly like that. Of course, you still need
okay.
to respond, but what is your own opinion about the process? Would you consider it transparent or just a political game there, sort of?
Okay, this is what I understand about recall process. Yeah. Uh, Anytime a senator or a member of the House of Reps is to be recalled, that would always be backed by Section 69 of the 1999 Constitution. Yeah. But the process involves that at least more than 50% of the petitioners must be registered, right? Signed and documented. However, in Natasha's case, the INEC revealed that only
Of course.
43.86% were
Okay.
verified.
In your opinion, was it
Yes.
transparent or
So
was
if
it just a political?
yes, it's if left to me, it's transparent. There's no any political vendetta as it regards to this. You cannot just trample on data like this. There's no grounds for you to start trampling on it this way. All
So,
right?
okay. So if I understand both speakers, you we you of the both of you are of the opinion that okay, it's transparent and there is no a reflection of political vendetta there. So
Yes, sir.
would you would you have said would you have concluded that is it fair to conclude that INEC was transparent in the handling of the petition that was submitted?
Yes, I'll conclude that they were transparent, very, very transparent. Because if not, if I would have a second thought concerning that, how do I prove it that it is not? You see, and they are the ones we have employed our trust to, that they will be able to ensure that there's a referendum that will be reached at the end of the day. And if they are the only institution tasked with this, then I have no option than to trust them, and I trust them.
Okay, Dr.
Yes.
Olalua.
Well, I would say that's a very interesting perspective, given the fact that, given the antecedents of INEC, I remember the last election, how people were talking about how we all slept and woke up and found out that we had a new president and why everything was done in a hurry. So speaking about this petition, I wouldn't say it was done in a really transparent way. I would say so far, INEC has tried as much as possible to be the umpire, to be a neutral umpire in this process. But then there are still some questions that are left to be answered. One is, which for me, I feel like the Section 69A of the 99th Constitution kind of makes it's not so clear. It's not clear cut of how this will be done. For example, it says that INEC has to verify the signatures. The signatures of the petitioners have to be verified and to be sure that, okay, these people are the people who actually signed are the registered voters. Because I remember when this whole recall started, the first thing people were talking about was, oh, they had called them for something else. Maybe they had called them to come and maybe get rice or something, and then they had to append their signatures to get this right. So the first thing is, how did INEC verify the signatures? That's the first thing we need to ask. Or what is the system in place by INEC? Which is why I also mentioned that we don't have a data system. INEC cannot come and tell me now that, okay, they put some phone numbers. Did INEC verify these phone numbers? Are they belonging to those people who they say? And if we all know in Nigeria, for example, I can tell you that I live in number 12, so and so place, whereas I live in so and so another house location or another house address. So how did INEC verify that the people, anybody can actually have access to the voters register and fill in the names? And actually, we know what is possible in Nigeria.
No, 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 no. Please, I want you to be sure with the fact that anyone can, because that's a kind of an indicting statement to the INEC body. Of course, you also will agree with me that we have INEC we have the Electoral Act, which also um, enables the INEC to decide to initiate the recall process once the petition meets the threshold that is required of them. So if you would want to say to establish the implication for the women in politics, would you what do you make of the whole thing? Would you say it's a threat to women participating in this political space in Nigeria, the involvement, or would you say that the progress of Natasha in political journey is kind of indicting to the men, or it's like a threat to the men? What do you think could be described about the whole process for the INEC and for the implication for women?
Okay, so I would say the recall process I wouldn't say feminine is a feminine act or is an act against feminine female participation in government, because like I mentioned, it's probably maybe the first female, but there have been previous recall processes done in the past, and they've been, I think almost all of them have been against males. She would just be the first female who would be being tried to be recalled. So I wouldn't say it's really an indictment or a repeal against women participating in politics. What I would just say is, which I would say like for a blank, I would say that the blank statement for all the petition calling or the recall process of INEC is that maybe somehow we need to review the process again as at the legislative level, not just at the electoral act level, but even the
Okay, sorry.
yeah.
I can see that you have a lot on this topic to discuss, but let me allow Dr. Pastor Jerry to respond to this question. Would you say that the whole thing, the whole recall process, of course, the INEC has come out to say they didn't meet the threshold, but would you say that it's concerning for? Would you agree if it's concerning for women, or should we see it like? At no point will the political actors take it as a weapon. And would you consider it a genuine civic demand for the recall? Or what do you make of the genuinity of the recall?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, thank you very much. Uh, there is no any ideation or political vendetta in this, because these are just people moving with emotions to go through it. Now, coming towards, not against, coming towards Natasha, I see a woman who is very, very ambitious. And for a woman that is that ambitious and with the history of the same thing happening over and over again, that puts the trust of her constituency in jeopardy. We are talking about representation here. We're talking about she representing the very grassroots electorate she is coming from. So it is only fair to, first of all, institutionalize her recall in the first place, because she is, because of her ambition, going out there to wash our dirty lining out there, right? We are not establishing
Please, can
any
you
fact here.
make it so clear and in simple ways to say, oh, she did well, she didn't do well so far. That is why these people are calling her back. Which one would
She,
you just make it as straight as direct as possible, if
okay,
possible?
she did not do well. As clear and as polite as I could be, is that she did not do well. Why? Because we are talking about representation here. She is coming with a bundle of trust from her grassroots electorate. She's coming with the heart of the people. And if you're going
I
out there
want
to represent the people,
sorry, Pastor, I want Dr. Lalua to respond to that direct confrontation, that the confrontation that she didn't do well. So, if she did not do well, if you subscribe to that, Dr. Lalua, would you now expect the recall to have scaled through the threshold, or can you reconcile for us and
I think
respond to
first
the
of yeah, I think first of all, the notion that she didn't do well, I think I would say it's rather false because the evidence are there, the books are there. Even before now, when she was celebrating her 1 year in office, she had this massive program for the constituents where there were testimonials from people saying how pleased they were. And if you look at the records of even 7 senators, even before her, and then you look at what they've done, I think for me, what she did was even an eye opener. So I was like very surprised. I was like, so if the senator can do this in 1 year, what has happened in the past 20 years of democracy that we've had? There have been senators there for as good as 15 years. And I'm asking myself, what have these senators done? So the notion that she didn't do well is, I find it rather very, I don't know, I would say false. And I think I also want to pick up on something that you mentioned about her being very ambitious. I would say this is a rather a rather difficult situation to put us females into to say that we should not be ambitious. I feel that is a rather not too good term to put females as, because I feel like every female should be ambitious, should be made to believe that they can do whatever they want to do, they can achieve whatever they want to achieve, regardless of wherever they find themselves.
I'll give Pastor the chance to give a direct response to you. Please, can you just respond to our opinion, which is about trying to undermine women's efforts about in women's participation in politics, and if she hasn't done well, why didn't the petition make the threshold? Of course, it's possible to accept a signature and as well thumbprint. So even they could get, if genuinely the grassroots people really don't want her, they should get the elderly people to thumbprint if they cannot make a reasonable signature. So because it's accepted in the Electoral Act. So please respond to the message from Dr. Lagwa.
Okay. First of all, let me give some credit to Natasha. She is widely regarded as a grassroots mobilizer, a rare breed in Nigerian politics, if you ask me. She's young, assertive, and passionate about social justice. I give it up to her. In fact, her election victory itself was historic, representing a shift in Kogi politics, the way I say it. Secondly, I'm a father to a daughter who is fastly growing in my compound. And trust me, I am of the view that a woman should be ambitious, very, very ambitious, as she would want to. However, ambition that could brew desperation is what I'm talking about. And an unhealthy ambition, that's what I'm talking about. And where there's an unhealthy ambition beclouding a woman, you would see all kinds of stunts that will be pulled in order to see that the goal has been met already. Yeah, I am not against a woman to be ambitious. I'm not against females to be ambitious. Like I said, I am a father of two daughters. You see, so I am out for them. If there is anything that should be to their favor, I should be advocating for. But this is completely different from what we are talking about here. We are saying that
why then didn't the petition make the threshold? If what could be the reason?
exactly that should give credit to what I said earlier, that the INEC is or was transparent and was an institution for us to trust. If there is a political vendetta and INEC should be at the grip of the powers that be, then definitely there wouldn't have been this kind of transparency. And then let's talk about the numbers. We are talking about 43.8% here, which means she is coming from a state that is divided against itself. She's coming from a constituency that is divided against itself. We could have videos over there. We could have reports over there that could tell about what she has done over the past 12 months. Yes, these are political stunts. We could all have them. Yeah. But what we are saying here is she's current constituency that is divided against itself. It's a 50% chance of she winning. That's why it couldn't scale through.
It's obvious that we still have our time for today will not be enough to deep dive into the topic. But would you say this will be the last question for you guys before I allow the audience to come in with their opinion. So would you say that would you say it's a kind of suppression to women in politics? I mean, the participation of women in politics. Would you consider it a suppression? And if yes, or if no, how do you think the problem can be resolved? And can the women be allowed to or given more opportunity without trying to force them to quit the race. What's your view just to give a short response to that? Dr. Pastor Jerry.
Okay, so
No, Pastor Jerry. I'll come back
okay,
to
yeah,
you. Don't worry.
yeah.
Okay.
These days, it's oppression to women in politics.
Not really. Actually, let me start.
Just 1 minute.
Let me post apologize to Dr. Olua. Please don't take this offensive, but trust me, when it comes to dealings with women, most of the time we rather allow emotions to get in the way. Please don't take this in the wrong way. We really, really have a long way to go when it comes to this. We are not big on facts and numbers. We are big on the fact that she's a woman.
Why can't they source him 1.7 million? Yeah.
Hello,
Sorry, we had.
hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so like I was saying.
Sorry, round up because I would like to give Dr. Lalu a benefit of response to your position.
Exactly. So what I'm trying to say is we are not big on facts and numbers. We are not big on processes. But once a woman is involved, we'll always go en masse and embrace our emotions and say, yeah, she is the woman here. Whatever she's saying, this is it.
Thank you. Let's hear from Dr. Lalu.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Dr. Jerry, for your perspective. However, I beg to differ. For me, I believe it's important that women are well represented in politics. Apparently, there are just about 4 senators in the house or in the current house who are females. And for me, I feel this is a very low representation considering the 109 senators. So that's less than 1% of senators. So personally, I don't feel this is a vendetta against the female representation in politics. Like I said, she's just probably the first female who is having a recall petition, but we've had previous recall petitions against the male. However, it's also very important to know that she's being treated fairly with due process. The due process is being followed through the whole process. And also, she's also been given a voice to be heard. So I think one thing she has always complained about is that her voice is not being heard, or they are trying to silence her voice.
Let me
this is something I think would be very important.
Sorry. Yeah. Would you say in a few words that she was actually sexually assaulted, or if you were given the right to respond to those claims, would you have said that yes, the Senate president was guilty, or what do you make of that led to this issue?
For me, I would say I can't categorically say if she was sexually assaulted or not because she's in the best position to actually make that fact. Because sexual assault, like they say, it's not something that you plan for, especially for females. You don't plan and set record, or you don't plan, okay, I'm going to set record for any man that tries to talk to me sexually. No, nobody does that. If you do that, then something is wrong. So she is in the best position to actually say if she was sexually assaulted or not. And mind you, it's always a place of how do I feel, not how the person who said something feels. So if I feel like your comment to me was inappropriate, then there's that place of judgment. For example, I would say, if you look at, sorry, Pastor Jerry, you're saying something?
Sorry to cut short. I said,
yeah,
I think I will answer that.
Yeah, so because, for example, if you look at, for example, the Senate president, he has some past antecedents. We've seen on national TV where he said, this is not a clubhouse. He has spoken to her before and saying this is not a clubhouse.
But I believe he was responding. Sorry, I think seeing Pastor Jerry's head, he's trying to maybe agree or disagree, and maybe 30 seconds to respond to those behaviors.
Yes, I am so feeling explosive now about this because if we are talking about past antecedents, trust me, doctor, you have shot yourself in the leg because seriously, it was Natasha that has the most grievous of all past antecedents. This is a woman who has a record of same sexual assault case against 3 men before this. So is she the only woman in town? Is she the only fair, beautiful woman in town?
Is it fair to say both the Senate president and the senator are not sincere?
Yeah.
Or would you say that?
No. I won't say that. Who is sincere here is the Senate president, because trust me, somebody cannot come with a history of the same thing and just say it and then we'll just go and agree to it. You know, he is just the victim of the situation. He's just a victim of a cycle that has been in play for quite some time. And we all know that. We all have data concerning this.
Okay, so just to cut you short, just to answer you there, Dr. Jerry. Like I mentioned, we cannot categorically say this happened or not. However, we do not invalidate someone's feeling. If I say I felt your comment to me was inappropriate, no matter how appropriate you felt it was, if I feel it was inappropriate, for example, I think I was talking to someone and the person was mentioning about something to me and he was like, this person, the person he was trying to talk to felt it was inappropriate. I'm going to report. But if we keep saying, okay, these women are trying to be emotional, it stops the victims from actually speaking up. Because people are going to ask you, oh,
So
so
I
where's the
think
evidence?
I'm,
Where
I'm
is the this
sorry.
thing?
I'm
Where is the
sorry.
this thing?
I'm
So
sorry. I'm sorry. Let's
this
not.
behavior, yes, this behavior from people and saying, okay, somebody has said 3 times she felt sexually assaulted. And then someone is saying, no, it didn't happen because she does not have any
Why would
evidence.
she
No,
feel? Why would she feel, doctor? Why would she feel being sexually assaulted? Do we work on feelings now? Now, you in your profession, sorry for being direct. Do you work with your feelings when you're treating your patients, or you work with your instinct and your know-how? Which one do you go with
so now
for
there's
the 60%
perspective.
of the time?
Good example you're using there. So there are two perspectives to it, depending on what you're treating and depending on what you're diagnosing. For people, especially in the psychiatric field, you always ask about feelings. Feelings are very, very important. In fact,
No, no, no,
we
no,
always
no,
say,
not the
yes,
feelings of the
I
client.
think before we
yes.
allow you guys to give the 1 minute closing
Ah,
remarks, I will give the audience, if they have any questions they would like to ask, either of you to clarify for them. But should we have nothing to from the viewers? I think we'll allow you to just give 1 minute remarks on both sides. So I can see Mr. Kunle, please can you just go ahead with your question?
Yeah, good evening, and thanks for the opportunity. And I want to say a very big thanks to the speakers. And maybe this question goes to Dr. Oluwatomisin. Earlier on, you said the participation of women in politics is low, and I want to throw this question: should we give them, or it should be earned? One, two. This issue of Natasha, when you look at the genesis, um, I mean, would you say that? What do you have to say about the main issue about her not obeying the rule of the Senate, then
exactly.
going on a TV station, I've forgotten the name of the station, then trying to bring up the case of maybe sexual harassment? I'm not trying to look down on that, like we've
It was
said.
on Rise. She made
Arise
the
TV, thank you.
station on Rise TV.
Now,
But please, can you just be
I
brief?
mean, so now to balance it with what Dr. Jerry said about her being ambitious, but maybe unhealthy one. So, I mean, is she not trying to ride on the emotion of the people by diverting away from the main issue, not obeying the rule of the Senate, and trying to play? I mean, no, sorry for the word play. Try to ride on the emotion of the people.
Please,
Yeah.
can you give
So maybe
Dr.
she can
right
say.
Okay, so I answer your question in six points, like just straight away. So for the first one, you mentioned about the fact that is this women in politics? Should women be handed positions in politics, or they should actually be involved in politics? I would say women should actually be involved in politics, just like the men. No one should be given handed a position just for free. We work for it. There should be meritocracy in terms of getting the grassroots votes and getting the people's vote to enter into a political office. For the second question about Senator Natasha, trying to the whole genesis of the problem. For me, one thing I think I realized is I felt I do not agree with her disobeying the rules of the Senate, of not obeying the seat change. However, what I differ is the punishment being meted out to her. 6 months suspension, I feel it's too grievous for such offense. I have seen worse offenses in the Senate before, and I don't think I've heard of anybody being suspended for 6 months. So I feel the punishment does not commensurate with the action that was taken. Because, for example, even the so-called chairman of the ethics committee, I heard he has a case in the US. There are so many people who have one issue or the other. I'm not saying that that is an excuse. However, she should be punished. all right and good. But 6 months suspension with so many stringent policies, I don't think that is absolutely right.
Definitely, I'll still request you the opportunity to be back on this platform, because you've made a point which has to do with validating feelings. So which we will talk about at a later time. How do we validate feelings if anyone comes up with feelings? So, but I've seen that there is a Timelea Lordman. Please, let's give him a chance to respond to ask his question, and I'll still allow Pastor Jerry to respond to some of these things in just 1 minute while he's rounding up when the time is up. But let's allow the Timelea to ask his question.
Okay, so sorry, the name is kind of long. That's my business name is Tim Ile at Lord Mayor. So I want to support Dr. Olua Tominsin with what she stated at her last point, right? I'm just going to give you an example, but before then, you also look at the Nigerian Senate and you look at the Ethics Committee. The Ethics Committee is supposed to work on a bylaw in terms of senators who are not compliant, correct? And then this bylaw is supposed to address cases, and even if there's no case as such, should give um I mean to be able to give meanings to cases as such. Number one, she was suspended for 6 months. Why was she suspended? Right? There has to be a link on that suspension to whatever bylaw. I'm going to use myself as an example. I belong to an association where I spoke the truth in one of the platform, and the next thing was they said I was being disruptive. I was bringing the reputation of the club into disrepute and the rest. Right?
Mr.
Can you
Timna,
hear me?
yes, we
Yes.
can hear you. But you will recall that you agree that it was a unanimous decision from the member of the Senate.
But let me just finish my point, then you will see. Right? The
Oh,
same
no,
people,
no, I'm just trying to
the same
put that
people
there
that I, the
because
same
it's
people that I the
sorry.
same people that are accused of doing wrong are the same people that form part of the ethics committee that was going to sit on that same matter, right? So when I got to the ethics committee, I saw those guys. The first thing I told the chairman was, my problem is with A and B. And the A and B said, well, unfortunately, we form part of the ethics. And just to cut the whole story short, I was being released from all my executive functions in that association just because I spoke against those members who
We're
form part
rounding
of
up.
the ethics committee. And I feel, yeah. And I feel this is the same system that is in operation in Nigeria, irrespective of Senator Natasha or
I'm
thereabout.
afraid.
If you're not,
I'm afraid if I have to listen to get to the end of your point, then I might not give Dr.
okay,
and
okay.
Pastor Jerry an opportunity to respond.
Dr. Tobinsi, thank you so much. I'm in support of Senator Natasha.
So,
I'm against the Senate Ethics Committee for whatever wrong. Um,
Pastor
uh,
Jerry, in few words,
Yes. Yeah.
respond to these members, these people of this other view about Senator Natasha. A suppression of women participation, was it genuine? Was the recall genuine? And do you see her coming out stronger, or more intimidating to your team, or more intimidating to the men folks in the Senate? And that will be your roundup point. And for
Yes.
Dr. Laolua, do you see her coming back stronger and more people, more women getting more involved as we round up? Please, 1 minute of each time to be from Pastor Jerry, and we round up.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. First of all, let me start with what Tim Healy said. Actually, uh, the misconduct was not alleged. It's there on the videos. You can look for them. First of all, she refused to sit in her assigned seat. Number one. Number two, she speaks without recognition. Number three, she makes abusive remarks against the Senate leadership. Now, you see, these three things threatens the leadership of the Senate. The Senate that takes care of a federal system which is instituted over the most populous black nation of the whole planet. I think she's flying too high that her wings must and needs to be clipped. If not, the damage that will be done will be irreparable.
Thank you.
That's one.
Thank you. I think
Shouldn't I?
a wing. Okay, it'll be somewhat partial if that line of word of sentence is not addressed by in the last minute, which is I wish our wings will be tamed. I would like you to consider that when you
Yeah,
are
shed
rounding
more
up,
light.
Dr. Lalua. But I'll give you like 30 seconds to finish the statement.
Oh, okay. Just to shed more light, I am talking about she
30
was
seconds.
flying through with the damages. That's what I was trying to say. So her wings need to be clipped. Actually, when we talk about women's suppression in politics, you may want to ask yourself, what are the rules in place or what are the system in place that denies these women the opportunity to participate? So you see that the poor involvement of in politics from women is their own doing, not ours. There's no law in this country that stops a woman from going as far as she can. There is
Thank you.
no any system that keeps her away from achieving whatever she wants to.
Thank you for your blunt views, Pastor Terry, Pastor Jerry. Sorry, excuse me. It's obvious that we'll bring you back on this platform to have connected or similar topic. And in the meantime, we say thank you for your time, and
Thank you very
let's
much.
hear Dr. Lalua respond to you as we round up.
Okay, so I would say that Senator Natasha would come out stronger and better. This has given her much publicity like she never had before. More people now know her. More people now are involved in the movement. So I believe that she would definitely come back stronger and better. And now to the point of her wings being clipped. Now I find that very interesting because our symbol as a country is the eagles, and we say let the eagles fly. So if we say we are the eagles, why should we clip an eagle's wing? If you clip an eagle's wing, the eagles can't fly. So for me, I don't believe in clipping of any wings or anything. Nobody needs their wings to be clipped. And I
Yep.
just wanted to point out something. You mentioned something about desperate ambition becoming very desperate. Wouldn't you say, in your own point of view, maybe as a reflection after this program, that the desperation of those against her is also, or the ambition of those against her is also being very desperate? Because first of all, they suspended her. Next thing, they tried to do a recall, and we always know that there's no smoke without a fire. So for me, I would say we still have a long way to go in Nigeria in terms of women in politics. We still definitely have a long way to go, and I'm looking forward to the future. What the future holds for Nigeria, and what the future holds for women in politics in Nigeria.
Interesting time again tonight, and so many things to make of this night. Eagles should be allowed to fly. We don't have to tame them. We
Yeah,
should, as our symbol, the national symbol, as eagles, we should be allowed to fly. And pettiness will not be allowed in the development of our political system. And so many takes to take home tonight from both sides. It's quite interesting. Like I've said, if you have not seen any of our previous video, you can try as much as possible to in your free time to see them, and by you referring the links to other people, by sharing the links, they can learn more about these discussions, and also we want to participate, and you can make your recommendations back. Our team will definitely go through them and make adjustments where necessary. Thank you guys for this wonderful time. It's an honor to discuss with you guys, and I will definitely call you back on this platform to have more discussion regarding related topics. Of course, you guys are experts, and it was an interesting time with you guys. Thank you once again.